step in explaining, to explain how important it is to make sure that your search engine optimization, especially your written content, is best suited to be found with search engine. So I will share my screen. Okay. There we go. Okay. So thank you so much. Today we will learn how to increase your visibility on the web with natural referencing, so search engine optimization. I will try and teach you how to optimize your content so that you stand out in the choices that Google puts forward, so that you come out before your competition. If you have any questions, just write them down in the chat and I will take some time at the end of the presentation to address them. Also, a more in-depth guide, as long as with the URLs that we will look at today in the presentation, and a writing frame will be sent to you all after the workshop. So your website, of course, is an important marketing tool. It serves to attract visitors, and then you want to convert your visitors into leads and then engage your prospects, so make them your customers. And of course, you want to retain your customers. So basically, that's why you have a website. Today, we're going to work on the number one, which is to attract user, get more traffic. What we're going to work on today is how you can attract strangers. That means people that do not know about your business, but that they can still find you without knowing who you are and where you are. So we're going to work on showing them what you do and what you have to offer so that they can find you easily. Search engine optimization is a series of techniques. They aim to improve the positioning of your page on a site, especially on the search result page. What you want to do is you aim to be within the first 10 natural response of a search. So when people search for you, you want to be on the top 10 of the landing page that results. In order to properly do that, there's many different elements. Of course, there's off-page, technical, local search engine. So usually it's your technicians or your web masters that do that. We are going to work on what you can do, which is your on-page search engine optimization. Most of all your content, and then we're going to work on different tags that you can do so that Google can find you easily. Before we start, I want to let you know how Google works so that when you do get into the writing of your content, your mindset, you know how it does work. So Google, first of all, it crawls. So what it does is it goes all over the place on the web. It looks for new pages and updated pages as well. After that, it sort of indexes. So it files according to theme, according to URLs, according to keywords that they find. So it goes into a big filing system. After that, it analyzes the content, meaning that if you go into the filing system for fishing, they want to make sure that your content is relevant to all that is fishing or outdoors pertaining to fishing. So they want to make sure that everything is as it should be. And to do that, they have about 200 parameters that they use. So there's 200 things that they look for. Of course, we're not going to work on all of them today, but we're going to especially work on all the content and what it can do to help you. And after that, that's when they do serve search results. So the user types a query and then Google puts forth what it finds according to the research of your potential customer. There's 81,000 Google searches per second. So we're pros. We use Google a lot. So, and it's adapted to that. So we want to make sure that we're right there with them to make sure that you're found first. Some interesting numbers. Of course, they're more than numbers, but I want you to look at search engines. They drive 300% more traffic to your website than social media. So that means if your Facebook is just to show something that's going on to your place, and you do not expect people to go to your website after that, it's okay. But if you want to take Facebook and to drive your customers to your website, you better work on your search engine optimization. It will work much better. Also, search engine optimization, natural referencing is more effective than pay-per-click marketing. So that means that if you do it as best as you can, it will be more effective than if you pay to be found on Google. Another thing is 111% more traffic when you update your content. So sometimes we build a website and we let it be. I suggest that you go work on your website, you change a few pictures or a few tidbits of text here and there regularly. The more often you go on your website, the more often Google will go and see what you've done on your website and add it to is indexing, and your chances of being found earlier or ranking higher are better. If you don't go on your website often, Google will not go visit your website often. So you're sort of forgotten into the long list of Google pages that you found. So you may end up number 300. People don't go there, but still everybody's ranked, like everybody is ranked. So you want to be ranked first. What is natural referencing? Well, when you do a Google search, natural referencing is what you see, of course, written in front of you. But when it's paid, you see a little thing, a little ad. So most people do not click on the ad. Only 20% of people click on a web link that says ad, because they don't want people to sell them stuff. And Google would rather they find you with natural optimization. Why natural referencing? Well, it's the solid base of a good communication campaign. And when you build everything that we're going to learn today for your website, you can also use it for your marketing and communication campaign, whether it be print or a tourism guide. It can be used. The work you do is for much more than just a website or a web page. So natural references, the advantages, of course, it gets you regular traffic. It's free. It's long-term, so the hard work you do will stay there for a long time, as long as you keep on going. And you can work your brand image. So that means if you go often and you take care of your website, that shows your customer that you do take care of your business. And Google does reward that, because like I said, the more you work on your website, the more often Google goes and visits you and then ranks you accordingly. The drawbacks, of course, it's time consuming. It takes about 2 hours to get a good page for web optimization. So it is time consuming, and it takes a little bit longer to get higher ranking. Paid referencing, well, it's instant and guaranteed traffic, but not everybody will click on it. So of course you will be in the top 2, top 3 with the little ad next to it, but it doesn't mean that the customer will click on it. It's costly. And of course, as soon as you stop paying, you go back to the end of the line. So it's very short term. Mostly people that do go with paid referencing, it's usually when they have a special campaign going and they have the money for it and they want it to be quick, or if they're just starting their website, so it can be known by Google. So why do we create and relay content? Of course, it's all in order to convince your customer to better sell your product. So you will have to, in order to do that, you'll have to target your audience. Once you target your audience, you'll find the keywords that your audience would like. And of course, the keywords that represent your business. Then you want to maximize the user experience. You want to make sure that when they do get on your website, that it's a nice place to be and that your product can easily be found, that it's, it's user friendly. We're going to also look at how to use title tags and header tags, meta tags. So those are all big words, but I'll simplify them. That's what Google reads. That's how they find you. And of course, we're going to learn how to optimize your images and your videos. So prior to writing, you need to know your target, of course. A tool that I find very efficient is on the site of Destination Canada. It's called the Explorer Quotient Toolkit, or QE. So what it does, it helps you identify your target audience, their demographics, their social values, how they like to travel, how much money they make, how much money they spend, if they have kids or no kids. So that will help you write your content according to who you want it to read. So if you know what they want to read, then you know what to write. So it's of course it's for tourism, but it works for anything else because the study has been made, and if you can identify with their social value and you can see their income, it will help you write specifically to target them. And what it does, it will help you to describe and promote your experience. You'll figure out who you're writing for. Once you've identified your target audience, of course, we all know about keywords. We keep hearing about them, and they are very important. One keyword actually is either one expression or one word or one customer need. For example, if you have a shoe store, of course, the keyword would be shoe store. But then if you sell ladies' boots, well, ladies' boots would be a keyword. If you sell men's work boots, then men's work boots would be a keyword. So you can go about what needs you want to sell. There's a few different kinds of keywords, but we're going to look at 3 today. So there's the generic, which is what we call a short tail. It's the most difficult option when it comes to converting customers. For example, here I use the word travel. So everybody wants to travel. So let's say 100,000 people Google travel. Well, the chances that your website comes out first is very low because everybody that does tourism will have travel as a keyword. So your chances of being found are quite low. The median tail, it's a little less competitive than the generic, and it's much more specific. For example, here I have travel in Canada. So now you've targeted people that travel, but in Canada. So your chances of being found are a little bit higher because maybe not too many of your competitors are in Canada. So of course, your keywords will not be travel in Canada. The most interesting one, and my favorite, is called the long tail. So that's the huge part of searches done online are with the long tail. The example I use here is traveling as a family in Manitoba, Canada. So of course, if you are a tourism organization or business, you are in Manitoba, Canada, and you're targeting families that want to travel in Manitoba, Canada, you want to use keywords or key phrases such as that, and then you will most likely be found because there may be not as many competitors that have that as their keywords. So that's why it's very important to target your market and to make sure that you speak to them, you give them what they are looking for before they look for it. There are quite a few tools that are handy when you want to find out some keywords. Some of them you have to pay, like the keyword tools or the Google keyword planner. All of those will be in the guide also. My favorite one is free, and it works wonderfully. It's the Google's quick answer results. So when you go on Google, either google.com or google.ca, you start to write your keyword and then Google fills up the rest. So what's happening here is Google knows what everybody is Googling. So it will finish your sentence with what the most popular searches are. So I did this PowerPoint in June. So I started to Google travel in, I wanted to write Canada, and Google finished it for me. So then it allowed me to see that people are Googling travel in Canada for summer 2021. They want to know if they can travel between provinces. So it gives you up-to-date information because that's exactly what people are Googling. So it gives you a chance to work on your long tail and give the public what it's looking for. Very cool tool. And I use it often for different things. And of course, for marketing campaigns, you can still use that. It's quite handy. Another thing that is important to remember is you don't want to overuse keywords. You want to have more than just one keyword. You do not want a web page that says kayak, 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 kayak on it, but with no true meaning behind it, because, well, Google will punish you for that. And when they give you a penalty, they put you down 100 positions. So you don't want to have worked so hard to go higher and then do something that you get a penalty for, and then you lose 100 position. A tool that I really like, and it's free, it's your dictionary.com or any synonym tool. So that helps you find keywords in the same family of, so that you can use different words in your sentences so that people can still find you. Example, here I wrote canoe. So then instead of, I can use canoe in my text, but I can also use outrigger or kayak. So it gives you it's a handy little writing tool, and it's very good for Google, because Google does also understand the meaning of your text. So it knows, it can read what you mean when you write and when you use synonyms. So, and it will again reward you for that and position you higher for that. Another thing that is very important is the user experience. You want your customer to go on your website, and you want it to be easy to look at and easy to navigate, like I said earlier. You want to establish a logical structure with your titles, subtitles, and paragraph, of course. So that serves two things for your customer. They go on your website and it's nice to watch at. They're not dizzy. They can find what they're looking for. But most importantly, for Google, then they can also see that your website has created a wonderful user experience, and they will know that because of the tags that you put forth, the headers, which will the next slide will talk about it more. I suggest that you have at least 1,000 words on your web page, not on all your web page, but on your main web page. The reason you need that is that Google needs to see that your content is serious. They want to see that you have worked hard, and like I said, Google does reward website owners that do work hard. Readers will then see you as specialists in your field, of course. And like I said, you use synonym and expressions. A little tidbit is first page content as on average almost 1,900 words. So whatever ranks first on Google when you search for something, well, the highest ranking have about 1,900 words on average. To help with your user experience, you need to establish a logical structure. This is also for your customer, but most likely for Google, because that's how they can look at your website really quickly and make sure that everything is relevant. So for that, your page title or your title tag, it can be a different title on any tag that you have. It does not have to be your website all the time. So whatever the page content is, it's good that you put your page title for that. And then you have the header tags, the header 1, header 2. Of course, it's very technical, but I think it's important that you do know that, so that if you're not the one responsible for your website, so that you tell your webmaster, listen, I really need a title. I want a title tag, a header 1, a header 2, so that if I can make you understand it, then it'll be easier for you to make sure that it does get on your website and that it's done properly. So if I look at this Minnedosa, I see that the title tag is their farmer's market, and that's exactly what they do. So Google gets in and he sees that, okay, title tag is that. So Google wants to see the header 1, he wants to see the same name. He wants to make sure that you're consistent. So he looks, okay, what's in green is your paragraph 1 or your header 1. So it does say Minnedosa and District Farmers Market. So that's perfect. And then in your first paragraph, especially your first 1 or 2 sentence, you do want to put your keyword again, just to make sure that you're consistent, because Google will look at that. Then he starts reading your text and he goes, okay, well, your first sentence, you did put farmers market in there. And of course, you did not just put the keywords with the, farmers market, you used it in a sentence, it's relevant, and the title as well. So this is how it's properly done. And then you could add on subtitles or sub-paragraphs or header 2. For instance, the header 2 could be the Minnedosa fruit alley, or when you go into more details. So this is where also you want to surf on the long tail by refining your keyword strategy, and then you'll dramatically reduce your competition. So that's one place where you can really use your keywords. Another thing that is very important and that some people do not do it, it depends on what you work with or if you work with a webmaster, but I know for my part, I usually work on WordPress, and it's in my back end. It does ask me if I want a meta title and if I want a meta description. If you do not fill that in, Google will just go get tidbits of text from your website, but it can be anything. It could be your phone number, it could be anything, and it's not all that good. So I suggest that you do work on that. And the important thing with that is that it gives you key phrases as well. So if you have any other marketing that you want to do somewhere else, well, then you have your key phrases, you have some text that stands out. So for your meta tags, you have the meta title, which is in blue. That's where you want to insert a main keyword at the beginning of the title, if you can. And you want an engaging sentence of about 7 to 8 words. For example, this one, 18 of the best beaches for a summer trip in Manitoba. So I take it that one of their keywords was beaches, and it's there in the beginning of the sentence, which is great. The second one that we see, the title is quite basic, Manitoba beaches. It's so-so. I mean, it says what it says, it's Manitoba beaches. We're going to look at the descriptions now. So the meta description is about 160 characters. So it's not long, and it's displayed like you can see under the title. You want to match the description of the content on your website, because Google will look at that, and if it sees that it's not pertinent as the content that you put on your website, it will penalize you. And you want an engaging sentence. And that's where you want to also put your call to actions, if you have any, like click here, read on, try it, get it now, anything. You want to use an active and compelling voice, you can there, that's the place. I'll show you the example of doing it properly versus not doing properly. Let's say that your customer is Googling for beaches in Manitoba. And these two here that we see on this screen are the two top ones. So now he's not there yet. He's not at your business yet, because he's got these two things to read. Which one will he choose? I would choose the first one. Why? Well, because the title looks exciting, and the description is quite great. Like there's 18 beaches, you'll want to check it out. Like it's a compelling voice, it's a call to action. I would pick that one, because the other one is blah. No offense to whoever wrote that, but it is. If I'm traveling and I want the best beach experience in Manitoba, I will click the first one. So that is why the meta tags and meta titles, they're important, because it's the last step in making sure that your customer clicks and lands on your website. Because if you do everything else right, and then you have a so-so description and title, you could lose your customer just like that. Because and we learned how to read really quickly on web pages. We sort of know what we want, and we want excitement, we want colors, we want, so of course so you want to be the one that is chosen. And again, Google does reward that kind of effort. Google does work for you, even if they do have you can pay to get ranked, they do work for you. And they started that, a little tidbit of history, when the websites first started. I remember people were making websites, and you would look for something and then you would land on a web page that was nothing like you search. It's because people, when they started making websites, they would build their websites and then they had a slot where they could enter their keywords. Well, they would put different keywords, Madonna, Michael Jackson, anything popular. So then people would Google Madonna and land on a camping website, and which is false advertising. But then the owner of the website would tell his customers, or people that would put ad on their website, say, hey, look, I have so many hits. And then people would buy ads, but then the hits were not for the right reason. So once Google was made aware of that, that's when they started to write down rules. And that's when they started, and they still do, reward the effort that you put to make sure that you have a quality website. Now that we did the text and the content, written content, we're going to see images. Of course, Google cannot understand images. They can't read a JPEG. They can only read the text. In this case, is the text the HTML that goes with the picture or the image. Of course, that's the webmaster's job, but still I can still tell you what to write or what to tell them to write to make sure that your images are referenced properly. So for the user, of course, you want to put a relevant quality image that message what your brand is all about. You need to do that. But for Google, you want to use your keywords. You want to have a name your file, because some people will upload pictures and their file name is img0056.jpg. So which tells nothing to the customer. Google does not know what it is. So you want to name every photo that you have. After that, you want a title tag. So this is what the viewers will see, is the title of the picture or the image that you put there. And then you want to fill the alternate tag. The alternate tag is a textual description that is attributed to an image. So that is very important. And that is where you want to use your long trail again. See how important that long trail is, or different long trails that you can come up with. The alternate text is the most important element for the optimization of your image. So make sure that you do it well. A tendency that is getting bigger is that images now account for 23% of searches on Google. Because we use more, we use our smartphone more, because we're used to seeing so many products in a second. Now people shop with images first. So they Google images like this one here, beach in Manitoba. So they're gonna click on the nicest image that they find, or the one that Google's put forth again, because if you have that nice image of a beach, but there's no image source, there's no name, Google's not gonna know that it exists, and it's not gonna be found. So that's very important. So here is an example on how images can be done properly or not. So of course, the file name is the name that you assign to an image. This is good for you because if you keep it in your computer, chances are you'll find it more easily than if you keep the original image 0056 name. So that's both for you and also for Google. So you want a file name that is simple, that just describes, it's just your image. It must be short and relevant. After that, you want to add a title tag, and most websites will allow you to do that in the back end. I think that you can name your file in a title tag and the alt tag. So your title tag must be catchy, something like a newspaper headline, but still short. The alternate tag, you want a textual description, of course, assigned to an image. And the interesting thing about alternate tag is that for visually impaired people, that's how they can know that what the image is. So it gives you more keywords. Also with people that listen now, they read websites while they walk, and they listen to it via podcast or via an application that reads the website to them, and it's getting more popular. So then they have more chances to get more content if you put some on your images. Also, if your website is slow and your images do not load, well, at least whatever you put down as the alternate tag will show up. So people will know that, oh my God, they put this image there. Here are a few examples, of course, for not so good alternate text example to best alternate text example. So I'm not going to run through it with you, but you can see that if you people are gonna find what you write. And of course, the best is also the one with the long tail again, because you want people to know that your image is at the London Museum and it's a giant blue whale skeleton at the London Museum. So, which is much better than just skeleton or whale. So people that do want to see a giant blue whale, they'll know exactly where to go. We've done images. So videos are quite important now because, again, people can watch videos on their smartphone, and they are a good selling point. If they are made properly, most definitely they will help you rank up with Google as well. So I think the most important thing is you choose the right hosting for your video. Of course, you can put it directly on your website, but make sure that it loads quickly, because if it takes too much time to load, then you hinder your visitor's experience, and he might not wait for it to load. So the right hosting, of course, there's YouTube, and there's quite a few others, but YouTube is usually the preferred one and the most known one. Video transcript. I think it's important that you should write whatever is going on in your video. Again, the reason is, like I said, there's apps now that people like to listen to content, so or have the content read to them. So that helps you to consult videos without sound. And of course, that's how Google will find you. Google will find content into video transcripts. Of course, you want to make sure that you use title tags and meta tags like we've looked at before. You want quality videos and nothing else. Videos, they're part of your branding. So it's your image. So if it's better to not put as many videos and have a smaller amount of good quality videos than have too many videos and not have the quality. Another thing that is very important is your little thumbnail, because when you do upload videos, if you do not assign a thumbnail or a little image on your video, well, again, YouTube or Google will just put whatever image. So you want the thumbnail to be engaging, because again, when people find you, whether if they're Googling for an experience or a product, either on Google or on YouTube, well, when there's like 20 videos that pop up, you want the image that shows on your video to be catchy, because you want them to choose you at that particular time. So I think it's very, very important to have an engaging thumbnail. Here, of course, as an example, I put Chef Ramsay. It speaks for himself. So that's engaging enough, as long as it's the content goes with it again. And of course, you want to make sure your videos are optimized for mobile device, because that is where most of the people do browse the web. So basically, I think that a poorly referenced site is like a boutique or a store without a window. You do all that work and people cannot see you or find you. So I think it's a shame to work on every other aspect of your business, and that people cannot find you because this has been neglected. So if you remember to identify your keywords, make sure that you have the target keywords so your clientele can identify you. You structure your pages like we've been through in the last hour. It enables Google to rank you, and that you include your keywords in all elements of your content. Like your meta description, descriptive text, your titles, your images, and your photos. I think you're on to some pretty cool stuff. And what I like to do is when I do make changes or I help with website, I like to write the date that all the changes have been made. And then I go check and I go see how I rank on Google with the keywords that I chose, and then I go often, and it's pretty cool because you do go up. Sometimes it might be slow, but you do go up. So it's nice to know that you do all this work and that you are rewarded at the end. And of course, 100% of your success, well, it depends on how much work you put into it. So that is it for me. If you have any questions.
Bonjour Chantal.
Hello.
Hi Chantal, this is Erwan. Thank you very much for your presentation. Very interesting.
Thank you, Erwin.
There was a question in the chat. I partially answered it, but I think it was a very interesting question regarding how to define our demographics.
Well, you can define your demographics, or you can define the demographics that you want. So I'm not sure. I guess you answered it partially. Of course, the demographics of where you are, you can find that with economic development impact studies. And if you're looking for, I don't know, if you want to have a market that comes from, I don't know, Nova Scotia, then I guess that you could either look at studies that has been done there, either in economic development or tourism. So then you have an image or a picture of what your demographic there is in order to bring them there. Is that, that's the best I can do for now.
So the study I'm referring to,
yes,
basically what they do is that they get in touch with different touristic businesses, and then they look at their clientele, and based on that, they're able to get some trends on who is going where and about their demographics. And so it's very interesting for businesses in the same area to know who is usually visiting their area, and that gives you an idea of who you can target to.
Absolutely. And I know that in the next year we plan to do a study with of course, Francophone tourists, but not with the agencies. We want to target the visitor directly. We want to talk to the traveler directly to know what they want when they go, how they like to spend, how much money they spend. Do they like hotels? Do they like what their favorite things to do are? So we will be doing that probably in the next year for, of course, the French market. And that will be shared. But I think that the tool from Destination, it's very good. Of course, it's done. It's a ballpark figure, so it's not geographically done, but it gives you they've done it throughout Canada, so it gives you quite a good idea. I really like that tool. I go there often, even for any strategic or marketing campaign. I think it's pretty cool to know the type of the age and how much money they make, so how they will spend, what keywords they like, what their values are. So then it's easier to, when you go fishing, it's easier to know what to put on the other end of your line to catch your fish.
So Chantal, I have another question. Because the presentation was really interesting. I'm discovering all of this, and it's a lot of information. I know that you've done this work for Le Corridor.
Yes.
Can you tell us about the impact that it can have?
So far we are seeing an impact. It's just that we are actually in the midst of a branding change. So I would have to go and find it for you, and I could send it to you as a, because I don't have these numbers on the tip of my tongue, because we are slowly making changes. I have to go through all the pictures and look at them and then give them a new name, and it's very hard, because those who did not have this formation, because you will get a guide with it. It's better if the customer tells me what they want me to write, because I don't know every single business. So that's what we're trying to get to now. Some of them are resending information and making changes. So that I will see that in probably the next 6 months. Like I said, when it's natural, it takes a long time to see the results. But once they're there, they stay there.
Thank you.
Any last minute questions for Chantal? That's it.
What I'll do, Desiree, I'll send you this presentation in PDF, as well as I made a guide as well that goes with it, and a writing framework, so that everything that we learned, you'll know exactly where to write it, and then you can keep track of it. So it makes it easier.
Yes, perfect. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chantal, for your presentation today.
Thank you.
Yeah, super appreciative that you took the time to share your knowledge and expertise with us. So like Chantal said, I'll be sending out an email with the content and resources that Chantal covered today. The recording will be available shortly on the CDEM website, which I will be sending out the link for that shortly as well. And then just a reminder that we are having training sessions every Wednesday in English and Thursdays in French up until October 8th. If you aren't already registered for the upcoming sessions, Chantal is doing a similar one tomorrow, but in French, if that interests you or anyone that you know. And if you have any questions for Chantal afterwards, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I can forward all of those to Chantal directly.
Yeah, please do. Please do. And I can help if you need to make changes on your website. I'll be happy to help you.
Awesome. And thank you everyone again for coming, and we look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Au revoir, Karim.